Here.
No, what I mean
Too
is
much trumpet. Yes, I understand.
No, I mean, yes.
Do you hear me well now?
Hello everybody, and welcome to the Hurdy Gurdy Cafe, an hour of interviews, music, and camaraderie. I'm Ryan, and I'll be your host along this crazy adventure through the land of the wheel fiddle. So strap in, and let's see what's cranking in the Hurdy Gurdy community today.
we redid it, and now we're doing it again.
Exactly.
Take three.
Yeah, I think we do. I think maybe not start with the story. We take it again.
Okay.
It's complex. I will tell it to you later. But
Okay. Hold on. Let me write this down.
I think you're doing it great, Ryan. So welcoming, and I really.
This never happens, eh?
This never happens.
No.
Ryan is intimidated by you or something.
I am actually. I am. Welcome back, everyone, to the Hurdy Gurdy Cafe podcast. This is season 2, and we're on episode 2. And we have the wonderful Sergio Gonzalez joining us again today.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome, Sergio. And a very, very, very special guest, Johannes Geworkian Hellman. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Nice to be here with you.
Yes, it's wonderful. I've been looking forward to this, and I know Sergio has as well. Before we get into the actual discussion that we're going to be having today, the conversation, I'd like to start out by listening to one of your tracks, 100 Years of Joy and Sorrow, and that's a track that you did with Symbio, correct?
That's correct.
And your accordion player, his name is Lars Emil. How do you pronounce his last name?
That's great, because both of us have these weird last names when we go out to play internationally. His name is Öjeberget, or maybe in English, Ojeberget.
Okay. And so is that also a two name thing like yours?
No, that's one name, but he has 2 names in the beginning of his name.
Oh, right.
So, Lars Emil. So I have 2 in the last one.
Okay. Well, you can tell us about that a little bit later. Let's have a listen to the track and see what you've got to share with us.
Let's do it.
So we're back again with Sergio and Johannes, and we just finished listening to a Symbio track, 100 Years of Joy and Sorrow. It's one of my favorite tracks. I'm just curious,
Fantastic.
what was the inspiration behind it? Where did it come from for you?
We compose all of our music by ourselves, and usually we compose it somehow together. Maybe someone has an idea, a little idea of a melody or a riff or something, and then we bring it to the rehearsal space and things starts to create. So we created this piece together in end of 2017. We recorded it 2018 in March, and it's the second album, Rising, which this is featured on. So sometimes we have an idea about what the story is for the music, but I think usually we create the music and then we feel what is the story behind this, what could it be about, what am I reminded about. And actually this song is really nice because the name came from a person in the audience, because sometimes when we have a song that we love and we want to play it, it's new, we want to play it for the audience, but we don't have a name. Well, sometimes then we ask the audience to help us. So we had some names for this one. And then there was one guy who said, to me, this is 100 years of joy and sorrow. And we felt directly, wow, this is the name. And for us, it's, life consists of many things. And sometimes it goes up and down like this, or usually it goes up and down like this. And we were thinking, this name and the music made us think about, everything you experience in a lifetime with joy and sorrow. And 100 years, it's quite a long life, but one or two people's life is 100 years. And a lot of joy and sorrow has been felt during that time. So the song is about the life.
Excellent. I mean, I really feel like you captured it well. So that's, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. But all of your work is like that.
We try.
Mm-hmm. What are some of your inspirations in regards to composing? I mean, I know one band that you like in particular, but I'm just kind of curious when it comes to writing your material. Do you have a certain way that you approach it, a certain kind of feel, or is it just what comes out, just based on how you know how to play?
I think that it's so many things and so many musicians that has inspired me, because I listen a lot to different kinds of music, and I've been doing that since I was a small boy. But I think that it's this, when it comes to the Hurdy Gurdy, to compose with my instrument, it's like this modal music, and the contrary, this like more harmonic music, but more what I like for me, what I am interested in, and what I feel is a big thing of my expression personally and with my projects for sure, is like modal music combined with what could you say, pop harmonics, or like more, I don't know how to say it in English, function harmonic. Sense. Yeah. And because I love modal, I love drones, but I also love harmonics. So this to play between the melodic language, but also the harmonic progression, and these things combined. And then I compose for solo. I also compose with my colleagues in the bands that I play with. And what I like, I mean, it's amazing to compose solo and to play solo, because it's somehow you are the master of everything. If you play a solo show, for example, I can do something like that and it can change everything. And I am the only one who is responsible for that. And this is amazing. And it can also be a big challenge, of course. It is a big challenge. But when playing with musicians, it's so amazing that our common history and the people that we are, what we do together, you can really see it in the music. And if I have a song, I try to compose something to bring to a rehearsal with Symbio or with Geworkian, another of my bands. I compose for the people who are there and for what they play, So usually it doesn't work to take a song from one band and try it with another one. But it will not be like that. But you understand.
Yeah.
Yes. Some of the people that are watching the show, maybe they don't know a lot about modal music. Would you explain a little bit the modal concept versus the tonal concept?
Well, just to say it in short, it's like modal music is more that you are what
it's like more based on melody, right?
The music is built on a scale, and how the melody is moving in this scale or in this mode. And usually it's played with drones. So for example, you have a D and you have a certain mode, a gamme in French, a scale. And depending on how the scale is, the combinations of intervals in the scale, well, you get a certain expression, and it's the melody that is doing the melody is driving the changes and the progression of the music. But when it comes to, I say, when you use harmonies and you say tonal, my English, tonal is the word, I guess.
I think it's
great.
More based on chords and chord progressions and changes.
Yeah, exactly. When you use this, I would say that the melody is getting affected by the chords and the progression of the chords. So the chords are actually driving the melodic development. So that's, I would say, is the big difference. And what I love about this is to combine it, because then you get...
This is very interesting. What you do is very interesting, because I saw it in your videos and in your albums. The combination of the modal and a little bit of tonal, because I see you use your capos a lot during the piece to go up from C to D or whatever. And I find it very interesting, the combination, because it's, for me at least, it's not simple to do. It's something that takes a deep understanding of the modal to combine. Fantastic.
And I think it's, with the Hurdy Gurdy, it's limited, but it also gives some amazing opportunities as an expression when you do those changes. And like I play a lot with the bass strings and so on, then you get this special, you can create the feeling of a bigger harmonic expression and harmony than that you actually have.
Yes, exactly.
So, but then, we have to give the honor also to my colleagues that I play with an accordionist, I play with a bass player. They are doing a lot of the harmonic. It's there with me when we compose, but I cannot play all these things in my instrument. As you know, you play the Hurdy Gurdy, and everyone who listens does that too. So, yeah.
So when you are playing together with an accordion, it sounds so flawless and easy and beautiful. Is it hard then with the drones? I'm just curious, because I've never played with an accordion player. Is it hard, or does it just work? Are you able to just make it happen?
I think it works well, and we experiment. And depending on the song we have made and where we choose to go. I know that it's a big change to have a bass tone or a drone, low as a bass, or to have it high as a trumpet, for example. Mm-hmm. And for me, I want to have my trumpets often. So but if you have a high C and you play in a song which switches between C and F and maybe even D, or, where the drone gets different, it's the first one, or it's the third, or it's the fifth, or it's the fourth. It's different things if it's in the low bass. So you can see when we play with Symbio that we usually make a joke about this, that I never use my bass string traditionally. I just use it for other things. And then
like doing this, yes.
One or two tunes where I put it on, and then you have this massive, wow, now comes the drone one time in a concert, But in other kinds of music, if I play with a bass player or if I play solo, then the possibilities are different. And I think the bass drone has another, to have it on like that, like a continuous bass is, it's lovely.
Right.
When I like the contrast, the changes.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
So,
well, I mean, that's the beautiful thing that I find with the hurdy-gurdy is that whether you're playing on the trumpet or you're playing on drones or you're playing in different keys or capos, that in the duration of, say, you know, a 15, 30, 45-minute set, that it sounds very different. Like when I play guitar, I'm just playing guitar, the amplifier is loud and it sounds like rock and roll. But when you've got a hurdy-gurdy going, when you switch between keys and put on different drones, it almost sounds like, it just, to me, it sounds like you've gone on an adventure. Like there's different moods that you've been able to invoke, and it's not all the same instrument. Do you ever have that experience?
I have had that experience, yes, but I would not say that it's something that is obligatory with the instrument, because I think many people can think that, oh, hurdy-gurdy sounds like the same all the time, and it's like drone, same key, and da-da-da-da-da. And I mean, and that can be lovely too. Yeah. But I think for me, there's always a mix between this thing that I love, like music that is like minimalistic music or like trance music, but I also like the changes and the different colors to be brought from the instrument and used. And so I agree with you, but it can be both ways. And I think it's a bit same with the guitar.
Right.
Actually.
Yes.
I mean, it depends a bit on the player and the instrument and the player and the instrument combined.
Right. What was the hurdy-gurdy your first instrument? Where did your musical path start? The violin?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Tricky.
Yeah, no, the hurdy-gurdy was not my first instrument. I started playing violin. I think I touched the piano a little bit, and then I started to play the violin. And actually, I was more or less forced to start to play music, because my mother is a classical piano player. For profession and for her life too, and for her it was the most important thing that her children, me and my sister, my little sister, should be able to play music, to have the opportunity to play. And that was the classical school, so it was, you have to choose an instrument. Like, okay, violin seems fun, like, and I had to go to lessons to play violin, classical music. And I just did that, and I think the teacher said that you have a talent for this, and like practice more and like that. And I think I liked music, but I never saw myself as a musician like that. And then when I was like 8, 9 years old, I started to listen to music a lot, because always when I was at home, I heard my mother play these different things, classical music or Armenian folkloristic music, because she is Armenian. And my father was an historian, so he listened a lot to historical music, for example, medieval music. So I grew up with listening to this, and I was interested in history, but and then I started to listen to, rap music or like more modern mainstream music. And I just understood when I was 9 years old that the music really touches me. And actually, when I have these headphones on, this is a really important moment for me to listen to this music and to be in this moment, this emotional moment with music that I like. It's actually a moment that is so important that I can choose to do this before other things. But then when I was like 14, I saw the instrument. No, 13. I started to listen to more folk music, and I saw the instrument, and I felt I was interested in many folkloristic instruments, but this instrument was special to me. I got to try it once, and I felt. There was something in this instrument that was speaking to me. I felt like that it was like maybe like this is how I want to sound, or this is that what that says is how I feel, or something like that, But this was, it was 2003, 2004. I didn't know any hurdy-gurdy players. Well, I knew that one, the one I met. And it was like, I was at the classical musical school. We played on quite high level, but hurdy-gurdy for the people in school, it was like, the teacher was like, that's some kind of, I don't know, does it have more than 2 notes? Yeah. So I was like, and it was also hard because you didn't knew any people who played, you didn't have instrument, it was not like today. It had exploded during the time I have played. It's, so I was just like listening a lot and started to listen to, I think actually I found the instrument, and then I started to be more interested in folk music. So, and then, so I was on a distance, listening to this instrument. And then I got an instrument, because there was one guy, Leif Eriksson, making historical copies, and this was the same kind of instrument as Stefan and Totte were using in Hedningarna and Garmarna in that time.
Yeah, Totte.
Inspiration, And I remember I got it and I loved it. I played a little, and then I put it to the side. I remember I put it up on, this cupboard for books.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
A really high one. I put it there because I felt that I was so alone with this thing. And, I was young, I was 15. It was like no one in the school. I was playing music in the school, but classical music. And, I felt that, well, this is maybe not something that I could do. It's not a real instrument, And I was also really interested in politics and history. I didn't think of myself as becoming a musician. But then suddenly I heard a recording and I felt really touched by this recording. Mm-hmm. And there was a Hurdy Gurdy player here. And I felt, wow, with this instrument, as with other instruments, you can do this. You can create art, something that affects people. So I can do this. And I took down the Hurdy Gurdy.
Oh, nice.
And I started to play it. And I started, and then I was 16, I started to play. We started to create our first band, which is actually Geworkian, which exists today still, and it feels lovely. And, it was very special because it's, one has to travel somehow because you cannot go and just have the music teacher in the school, to show you. And when I was 18, I felt that, okay, this is what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And this is
nice.
12 years ago now. And then okay. So, but the classical violin before, and also the recorder, I have played a lot of recorder because when I was 11 years old, I wanted to change. I wanted to play something else and I was interested in early music. So recorder was the most ancient instrument in the school because the Hurdy Gurdy was not there yet. So, Which
was the album that you told us that
the
touched
album,
you?
Yeah, the album.
Hedningarna or?
No, actually, I listened to a lot and I love that. But actually, this one was Lure. It's a Swedish band playing traditional music, but they're playing modal folk melodies acoustically with bouzouki and double bass. So what we just talked about. And there was one polska, like a Swedish dance song that was wow. And the player was Harald Pettersson. He's not alive anymore. He died 1 year ago, actually. Sadly. But he was like he was the one playing Hurdy Gurdy who brought the Hurdy Gurdy into Swedish folk music. One of these guys, and maybe the one who was most known for doing it in many years ago.
Later, we need you to write us the name because I am really interested in listening to that album. Really.
Nice. I shiver every time I listen to this song because this song meant a lot to me.
Cool. So, nice.
And just before we listen to another one of Johannes's tunes, I'm curious, Sergio, do you consider Symbio and the way Johannes plays, do you consider him to be easy listening Hurdy Gurdy?
I don't know. Inside, you joke all the time with the easy listening Gurdis, but I think Johannes makes modal music easy listening. But I think it's complicated music, but at the same time it's minimalistic. So this is very difficult to do. But yes, somehow it's an easy listening Hurdy Gurdy music. Like if I put this track, this track that we are going to listen to my mom, she's going to like it. You know.
Nice to hear that.
It's an ongoing joke because Sergio, he thinks that I only like easy listening Hurdy Gurdy, and I really love Symbio. So
it's easy for you to listen to Symbio. I like to hear that. I love that. No, but I think talking about easy listening and more esoteric music, I think it's always. You want to get people to, some of the music that I really love, when I heard it first time, I was like, what is this? And then I have to take some more time, I have to listen, and then suddenly, wow, this is Valentin Clastrier. Wow. So it takes time, but you want things to be accessible, but you also want to, because we live in a society also where everything is going like this all the time. You have one song, you can click. If you don't like the song, after 2 seconds, you can click to the next in Spotify. It's amazing, like the media bombardment that we have. But sometimes you have to get something that what is this? Okay, I have to explore. And then something starts, and I mean, this goes for music, this goes for relations, can be the same, So
well, that's what I love about your music. And again, Rush is also one of my favorite bands. So what I love about your music and also Rush is that when you listen to it, you can groove with it, you can feel it. You're thinking, this is good. I can play this. But then you sit down and you try to learn it. And you're like, what time signature is this? What is this person doing? So what I love about your music is that it's so good to listen to. And as Sergio could say, someone who's not really, a hurdy-gurdy enthusiast will listen to it and say, that's amazing. And but when you sit down and you try to learn it, you're like, this is hard. So that's why I have the issue with the easy listening, because it's easy listening, but it's not necessarily easy to play.
I understand.
Yeah. Well, one of the tracks that you had mentioned that you are working on some solo work, and the track is a song for Valentin. Is that correct?
Yeah.
This was go ahead. Tell us about
it. This is just a live recording 2 years ago. So it's I started out to work on a solo project some years ago, and then a lot of things happened in between. Things in life, and also that we were happy to play and tour very intensively with Symbio, and we really focused on doing that, and also played a lot with my other bands and so on. And then I was waiting to find really when it feels like right to work on something and to then release it. And it will be this year that I record this actual solo album. And this is music that I have composed for my instrument, Hurdy Gurdy, with a microphone, so amplified, but acoustic with amplification, without like the effects. And this song is the first song that I wrote for this project, actually. And this is a song that has been with me for many years now. And it's a song that I dedicated to Valentin Clastrier, actually. So because I was very inspired by him, by his music and his as him as a person. So
let's have a listen then. So this is a song for Valentin, and this is Johannes live. I believe it was February 2019 when this was recorded.
Correct.
Yeah. So here we go. right, welcome back to the second episode of season 2 of the Hurdy Gurdy Cafe podcast with Sergio Gonzalez and Johannes. We just got done listening to a song called "Song for Valentin," and you mentioned that this was inspired by Valentin Clastrier, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
We need him. We need him in the podcast. Season 3, Valentin Clastrier, please come.
Absolutely.
That would be wonderful. He blows my mind in ways that I can't. I would not call him easy listening.
No. But it's nice because it's like completely the opposite thing of easy listening, but it's one of the influences of Johannes. So it's fantastic how this mix and creates more music. It's fantastic. I love it.
No, me too. I've listened a lot to him.
Have you had a chance to meet him and play with him, or are you just simply inspired by his music?
No. I have met him and I know him, so this is why I wanted to make a song for him. So first time I heard Valentin Clastrier, I was in a library, like Stockholm Library, City Library. I went and it was in this age, like 15, when I found the Hurdy Gurdy, and I asked them, do you have something with Hurdy Gurdy? Well, we have this one, LP, this is 1982, Le Grand Maître de la Vie à la Roue. Then you got headphones and you could go and you listen. And this was, the acoustic album, which was a totally like avant-garde and like breakthrough for Hurdy Gurdy, technically, musically, everything. And I listened to this and I was like, I cannot believe that this is a Hurdy Gurdy, because in that time YouTube existed, but Facebook, all this, and it has developed a lot. I haven't heard something like this before, but I liked it a lot. And still it was weird. It was and then some years later, when I was 20 years old, I got to meet him, and I'm very happy for that. And I met him several times afterwards. It became a very good friend and big inspiration for me to meet him and to get to know more about his philosophy, about the Hurdy Gurdy, and about his technique, of course. So it inspired me deeply.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. He's a great master. So now we are talking about people that you got influenced by. Are there more names in your list?
Yeah, there are more names. So really, there are so many different people that have inspired me. But I guess you are wondering about the Gurdy players.
Yes. We are a geek podcast.
Yes,
that's great. No, but Valentin for sure, absolutely. I would say that different players has inspired me during different stages of my life. But there are some that still inspire me, and that. So I maybe mention them first. And Valentin, absolutely, and Matthias Leubner, I think, has really very much inspired me as a player. I think. Very much. And also Herman Diaz.
You are naming the tops, eh?
Yeah, he seems to be everyone's favorite.
They are the tops. And to me, they are absolute tops. Yeah, so, and, but also Gregory Jolivier, he inspired when I was 21. Very much inspired by that. For different things, because these people do different things. So Gregory inspired for some things, the others for some things. Well, other players, Sébastien Tron, I like. This is a player that doesn't get the attention that he should have, because he's for me, one of the best players. Sébastien Tron, Romain Baudouin. I love these people. I love these guys, and I have had the opportunity to meet them. So they are also friends to me, but friends and masters and people that I appreciate and people that inspire me still, and they inspired me a lot. So, well, I mentioned some names there.
Yeah. One of the questions I'm curious about, well, actually, there's a few things, and someone posted on Facebook a question. We'll start with that one related to your instruments. So this was from this was from Sam Riffle. She asked, "What are the major differences between your Weisselbalmer tenor and the current model that you're using, the Rebolo?"
Wow, that's a big topic.
Tough question.
You say, I would say that to me, comparing these two instruments, I would say that the Reboyo has a more deep sound, like more lower sound, more power in the low frequencies. And I think that the tenor that I played before had more brilliance, was more powerful in the brilliant areas. And then somehow this Weisselbalmer instrument has this like a little bit more of the brilliance, but it has. I think that the Reboyo has a little bit less for me. Like I don't know which word to use, but like the keys are very silent, for example.
Okay.
And, yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, I've never.
Nice instruments, I think, for me, good dynamics. I like.
Oh yes.
I mean, I really like the dynamics of the instrument I have.
So we are talking about your these two instruments, the Reboyo and the Weisselbalmer. But you told us already that you own an instrument by Leif Erikson. So can you tell us which Gurdys have you owned? Now I'm curious.
I can say I don't own this Gurdy anymore because when I was changing, when I bought my first tenor, I had to sell the other one to pay it. So I don't own this, but I have only two Gurdys. I have my Reboyo tenor that I played, that I'm developing now together with Jaime. The instrument is with him now, and this is really interesting. So I played this since 1.5 years, so it's quite new. So, but I'm looking forward to do my first like real recordings with it now in this year when I get it back from Spain, where it's now. I also have a small Allegro 5-stringed instrument from Wolfgang Weisselbalmer, and this is a second-hand instrument that I bought. And for a small Gurdy, I love this instrument. It's so nice. It really has a small instrument, but with the full soul, I would say. So for this, I have it as I have actually borrowed it to people who want to play Hurdy Gurdy. Sometimes it's so nice to have a quite good instrument to give to someone who wants to try, or and then I play some for fun, a little bit of Baroque things, just because it's perfect, the scale, and for that, and sometimes just practicing on it. But every time I do it, I feel, oh, I love the sound. I love this sound.
What's the scene like for Symbio? I mean, when you can actually play and you're doing your tours and recording and so on. How often do you play, and where is your main swath of touring usually happen? You said you made it to the U.S. once. Was that to play music, or was that just to visit?
No, that was to play music.
Okay.
Right now, we don't have a scene, really. I don't know who has a scene right now. Not a live scene, but no, but we have been lucky to play. We've been playing a lot in Sweden and Scandinavia. We've been touring, playing in 20 different countries in Europe, and some of them we have been visiting many times. Like, I think we have been a lot in Germany, Benelux countries, for example, but we have also been in France and Spain, and we have a 2-week tour in France coming up, but let's see if it will be on or not. I pray. And we have been in US once. So actually the idea was we were working on a tour for September now, but I mean, the situation in the world right now, everything is postponed, and let's see. But yeah.
And for you, is that mainly with Symbio? Because you mentioned other bands that you play with too.
I play with Symbio. Maybe now we play maybe 75% of all the things I do is with Symbio. And then I also play in a trio called Garissime, and we will release a new EP soon here in March, I think. Then I play with my Johannes, a project like a kantele player, lovely kantele player from Finland. And I have the solo project. I play with a recorder player, and but mainly I do the Symbio thing. And I think there is a reason for that. It's simple to work as a duo. We both of us live in the same town. And that's actually the only person that I have a band with that lives in the same town as me. But I mean, I get many things. Just as with the people I play, I love to play with my colleague Lars Emil. But we were lucky to have a lot of concerts. But we have been working hard also.
So one of the questions I'm curious about, and we've chatted over on Facebook a little bit related to this. So do you think it's possible to actually play a Rush song on the Hurdy Gurdy? And if so, which one would you choose? I have the top 3 that I would pick, but I'm wondering I'm wondering what you think.
Maybe for the listeners, we should tell that I don't know how many people are familiar with Rush. It's like a...
What do you mean? They're like everyone knows who Rush is, right?
Exactly. But the thing is that this is like an art rock band, you could say, 40 years together. Amazing band, and for me, one of my favorite bands. But actually, I found out about this band just 1.5 years ago.
No, for real?
July 2019. I have never, I was going to this classical 80s rock song, and then there comes a song in the headphones, and I was like, what is this? This progression of chords is not the usual one. This is something more. I love this. Yeah. And then the voice came, and I was like, is this a man or a woman singing? I love that this is what I feel when I hear it. And then I think I've been listening to this band more than 1 year in a row every day, because there was one day there was suddenly something that I haven't done today. I have not been listening to the band, and it was if you can play one of the songs, you can play one of the songs, of course, but I mean, you cannot play all the parts.
Right.
But absolutely, some songs, there are some different ones. There is one that I really like because it's the name is Between the Wheels, and we like wheels.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And this song also has amazing guitar solo, and I love the lyrics of this band. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I would love to hear it. I've tried to play YYZ on the Hurdy Gurdy, and I think I made it like 45 seconds in. And I thought, well, maybe I'll
I will try. I will try one day.
Good. Well, let's have listen to another one of the tracks that you mentioned, Hive. And this is a recording with David Lombardi and Tad Sargent. So these are a fiddle and a bouzouki player, correct?
Exactly, and Boran playing also.
Okay.
Plays Boran also.
Okay, and which is which? Which one is the fiddle and which one is the bouzouki? Is Tad the bouzouki player?
Yes, that's exactly that. And David is violin player. And this song David is an old friend, and they wanted me to come over because they live in the UK, even if David is originating from Italy, and to make something together. So we met for 2.5 days, I think, and we didn't have anything, or we had ideas with us. For example, I brought some ideas with me, and we created this song, and then we recorded it, and yeah, that was 2 years ago. So.
Okay, well, let's have a listen. This is Hive. So we're back again at the Hurdy Gurdy Cafe podcast with Sergio Gonzalez and Johannes, and we just got done listening to the tune Hive. And can you tell us just about the name of the tune? I'm curious. I've always wondered about this.
I knew this question would come because we didn't know what to call it, And then Hive, I'm not sure, but it's, with bees, where they live. Isn't it called Hive?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, and the bouzouki player, the bowram player, he said that, but I'm always thinking about bees when I hear this. So Hive would be a good name.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful track, and
thank you so much.
It's a wonderful arrangement of it. So as we're moving towards the end of our time together, I'm always curious, players like you who just blow my mind. When you first got started and you were learning to play, how did you approach learning? How did you approach learning the instrument, and how did you approach even getting into the trumpet? What was your routine like in that regard? Do you remember?
I think for me it has been a lot to. There are so many levels of this, for me to try to feel comfortable with the instrument and to find, but with the hurdy-gurdy, it's so much about adjustments.
Oh, yes.
I mean, it's, I know all the players have been working very hard with adjusting their instruments and how important it is. And in the beginning, when you start to play, you just have this anxiety because something happens and, and dryness and all the things. So it takes time to really find. I think that I can adjust a lot of things, and especially with the instruments that I know, but I learn things all the time. Still, I do that. And I think that's amazing because I think for just 5 years ago, I would have thought that, now I know, not in a cocky way at all, but like, I wouldn't think that I could get so surprised by understanding new things that if I do like this, with the hurdy-gurdy, sometimes it's magic involved almost, because you're like, this shouldn't be the way to fix this, but now it was, and we just say thank you.
It just works.
It just works, and no, but I think it's important to play music that you like. Because you have to enjoy to play. And then there are a lot of different methods and things that you can do. Absolutely. And for me, it's everything from playing. For me, I have played quite a bit of different genres, styles of music, and also to focus on different things and how to combine them. And inspiration. I think inspiration is important. And for me, inspiration was a lot. I learned so much from YouTube, when I was younger. And I think people do that today too. To see someone that makes something that you want to do, then you know that it's possible. So you have to find your way for how to do it. And then you can be extremely lucky to actually meet this person or someone else who can tell you a method of how to do it, or can help you a lot. Of course, and that's really, or share with other people who plays. That's really valuable. So yeah. But learning an instrument,
What were you when you started? You said to play what you like, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. What were you playing along with, or what? Because when I listen to what you play, I don't think that sounds like any other kind of music, hurdy-gurdy wise, that I've heard. So I'm kind of curious, what were you learning on? What kind of tunes were you learning on?
I think I have different stages in my life. Like first for Hiedningarna Garmarna, this folk rock thing that I learned all the tunes to the CDs and then there came new players, and I saw, wow, this, and then I start to learn all the tunes from Nigel Eaton. Now comes Gregory Jolivier, and then Anna comes Valentin. I cannot learn all the songs from him, but I can learn some songs. Right. But I think I have been listening to other kinds of music too. And I think I can say one thing that has been important for me. And that is when I started the hurdy-gurdy, I saw other players who played hurdy-gurdy and they played something else too. And I noticed a little bit that this is nothing. I love people who play many instruments. I love Efren Lopez, for example, who is one of the most amazing musicians that I know about. But what I noticed was that when they played something that seemed a little bit hard to play on the Hurdy Gurdy, or not just like made for the Hurdy Gurdy, they put it away and they took another instrument. And I felt directly, I don't want to do that, because for me, I feel this instrument has so many voices. I was so attached to the instrument that I felt that I want to find ways to speak with it for different things. So I decided that I will not put down the Hurdy Gurdy. I will use it. I will find a way to do it. And that has been very, I think for my path, it has been something that I go with all the time, that I somehow find, and I try to imitate other instruments, or I, try to search for a technique that makes it possible to play something that maybe you thought could not be played with the Hurdy Gurdy.
Right.
And to me, this is also to find the balance, to embrace what is the sound of the Hurdy Gurdy, what are the possibilities in the Hurdy Gurdy, what was the instrument made for, all these things, to combine that with what are the weak points of this instrument. And maybe there is a value in this anyhow, because for me, it's like to embrace the things that are great. For example, there is no other instrument that can play the trumpet, or drones, or play continuously, or like thrills is very easy on the Hurdy Gurdy. But then there are other things that is more, this is not really for Hurdy Gurdy. But it's an expression too. And for me, I want to embrace that expression, because there is something in that can be something touching, because it's the Hurdy Gurdy saying it.
What I'm curious, you're talking about things the Hurdy Gurdy can't do, or it's a weakness of the Hurdy Gurdy. Does anything in particular come to mind that you remember thinking, yeah, this is something that it feels like the Hurdy Gurdy might not be able to pull off real well?
Well, to play different harmonies.
Harmonies, yeah.
And thing like switch drones like this. If you have a piano, you can just jump like that.
Right.
But I also think that, it's about the dynamics of the instrument.
Dynamic is very hard on the Hurdy Gurdy.
In this like 0 to 100% of volume in an instrument, like a bow, you can just attach the bow and start, and then you can put on more pressure. In a Hurdy Gurdy, we need a certain kind of pressure to get the strings sounding, So that small, like 0 to 10%, or it depends on the instrument, of course, but I would say for all instruments, all Hurdy Gurdys, this 0 to 10%, it doesn't really exist. Of course, you can play something, you can play on the sympathetic string, so you can play like a little, but when it comes to playing the melody strings, really, I think, and then of course with the drop wheels, and which are amazing, but it's not the same, because you put it down and just from the same setting of the instrument, you don't have this starting dynamics in the same way. When thinking of a bow, it's a difference there.
That makes sense.
Some things are easier too, so.
I think the dynamics on the Hurdy Gurdy, at least for me, and for how I see the instrument, are always on the right hand, because we have a big dynamic possibility on the dog. I really like how Hellman plays the dynamics on the dog. Yeah, because you can go like from to really gong. So this is very interesting.
I think I think the instrument really has dynamics, but the dynamics are a bit like this, not only like that.
Yeah.
The trumpet is one sound, the melody is one sound, and then But for me, absolutely, the dynamics have been very important, and something that I really try to strive for when I play. It's important for me, and also my choice of instruments have gone that way, that I want. Because there are also great, amazing players who are not very dynamic players, so it doesn't have to be,
Right. Well, I appreciate you talking about when a player might play multiple instruments, and when it doesn't quite get right with the Hurdy Gurdy, they go pick up another instrument. I've noticed that, and in my own life, playing mandolin and tenor banjo and guitar, what I always hated was when I played in bands, I always had to carry around a tenor banjo, a guitar, a mandolin, my amplifier. It drove me crazy. And so when I started playing the hurdy-gurdy, I decided I'm not playing anything else. If I can't make it work on the hurdy-gurdy, tough. So I'm glad to hear someone else say that too.
Lovely. And just to remind, we are different as musicians. Some people are these musicians that want to, I use this to play this, or if I want to play this, I play a flute, or if I want to be, they have many legs to stand on, and that's amazing. And I think it's just the difference. For me, I like to play some other instruments just for fun, and but for me as an artist now, the hurdy-gurdy is my voice, and I feel that somehow it became my way. And for me, it's like that.
Yeah, excellent. Well, Sergio, do you have any final questions for Johannes before we listen to our final track for the day?
Yes, please. I have a question about studios, okay? About how you record on the studio, because I really like the sound you get in your recordings, and I was wondering if you have any special tips for recording, because I've seen you using a lot of ribbon mics and this, and it's interesting for me. Yeah. Do you have any tips?
Yeah, the sad thing is that I am not the expert to help you with here. I was just happy to work with some people who were doing good sound. But I think for me, what I search for in an instrument when I record a hurdy-gurdy is to have a good quality of the internal mics, the mic system, because the way I play this instrument is using very many different sounds, and some sounds doesn't have a really high volume acoustically. Okay. So I need a pickup to put up this sound. I play the bass, pizzicatos, it sounds like an electric bass or double bass. It doesn't sound like that acoustically. It's something, So, and the same to always have the melody present, and to, so this is important, to mix the internal mics with a good external microphone. It can be one, but if you prefer, it can be more. Preferably, it can be more microphones. And where you place them, of course. But for example, when we do the sound of Symbio, my good friend, Lars Emil, he is a sound technician too. And he is making the mixing of our albums, for example. So we do it together, like listening, how do we want it? But he's the one who knows how to...
Of course.
And also, when I play with others, someone else is doing the mixing. But it's very important, and it can be really different. And for me, it's to find the balance of this acoustic and a bit electric.
Do you usually record together with Symbio?
Always.
It's a live recording, eh?
I record everything that I do live, I would say, more or less.
Yes. Fantastic.
I think it's... Yeah, you can do it in many ways, but you want to find something happened because we're playing together. But it can be great to just add things. That can be amazing too. But we have done it in that way, that we play together.
Nice, fantastic.
Well, that brings up a question I have. When you do play live, your sound setup, do you use many pedals, or you just pretty much straight in?
No, we have an idea, or I have an idea. And we have in Symbio and in the other bands that everything that or let's take Symbio because it's the one that I play the most with. And until now, we had the idea that everything we do, we want to be able to do it live. So all the things that you hear in the Symbio album, you will hear it live, because that's somehow because looping and these things, I like it too, and it's interesting, but there is, because I think we play our instruments, accordion is also a bit a traditional instrument. We play them in a way that most people feel, wow, I never knew that you can play the hurdy-gurdy or the accordion like this. And then I want to say that, but I can do it, and I don't need to loop things to be able to do it. There's nothing wrong with that, not at all. But we want to see what, the base is that it was me and Lars Emil, our stories and our acoustic instruments. Okay, we need the mic. We have really good mic systems. We need them to get out a big sound to the audience. But from there, we want to be able to do the things. And that's also, you said something about easy listening. Yeah, a bass line can be easy listening. But if you need to play a bass line while you play a melody on the hurdy-gurdy, that's not the easiest thing. But it becomes maybe easy listening. Absolutely, and I'm totally fine and happy with that. But to have the challenges, you know, how you, for when you're playing, to have a challenge. And also what we use is reverbs, and we also, Lars Emil uses his stomp box, and we're working on the third album that will be released later this year. And then we are working with some more like digital stomp boxes. But yes.
Excellent. Great. Well, before we finish up and listen to our final track for the day, there was one more comment from the Hurdy Gurdy community Facebook page, and it's from Christian Moore Levison. And he says, hopefully I pronounce it correctly, Shana? TG?
Shana, that's hello.
Okay.
Or like, hi there.
We need Christian here as well. Christian,
yes.
Come to the podcast.
Great.
So the final track we're going to listen to is, let's see, this is another live track, Rising.
Yeah, okay. So this...
And what can you tell us about this track before we go?
I can tell you that this is the title track of our album Rising, which is the most recent album that I have made with my projects. And it's from 2018. And it's our second album. And this song, we have composed it. And to rise, the verb to rise, the idea of this song is that, again, we think of the life and how it can be. And sometimes the life can be really hard. And, you know, we experiencing people dies and you maybe don't know. Sometimes maybe you lose the grip of like, because I mean, we appreciate life and to be here, and especially us who lives in this part of the world. I mean, we get to play this funny instrument and to go down in that, and we have food on the table and there is no bombs coming right now, you know, we are really gifted.
Right.
So, and there are so many things to get touched by and to experience in the life. It's wonderful to be alive, but sometimes it can also be hard, and that's normal. As we said, joy and sorrow. But sometimes maybe someone gets into a place in their life where they feel that they have lost this contact with feeling the joy of being alive. And it can be a really hard time.
Yeah.
But I know that you have seen, and me too, people going through so difficult things in their lives with maybe a lot of pain and sorrow, and yet they somehow manage to get back to life and to feel that, well, the life is precious, and I'm grateful for being alive and for all the things that I can do, or for the people that are here in my life. So this is a reminder to everyone who is in that hard situation where they are struggling with life, that okay, it's hard right now, but remember that it can get better, and hopefully it will get better. And there are other people here around you who want to help you if you maybe dare to ask for help, because we need each other. I think in this COVID situation, we understood this more than anything before, that wow, we can be strong alone. I know that from my life. One can be really strong alone, but usually we are stronger together, and we need each other because it's hard to stand alone all the time. And I also work a little bit with like voluntary things regarding like people who are having like mental illness or like who are struggling. So I know that from this time of the year, many people have had a hard time. So I hope that the situation will get more stable and that we can get back out there to not have this social distance and to actually understand better how important we are for each other as friends, as family. Of course, I think we all understood that. But I think just the meetings with a person that you maybe meet only one time, or that you meet in the supermarket, that these things can have an impact. You and your behavior to others have an impact and can have a bigger impact in their lives than you maybe understand. Right. And this, for me, this is gives me a lot of hope. And now I have been talking a long time, but this song Rising is, for everyone to rise and to have some power and comfort for their...
Fantastic.
I appreciate the description because, even in my own life, discovering the Hurdy Gurdy and your music, it was a very pivotal healing thing. So I just want you to know that you're doing your job.
I'm so happy to hear that. And this is the best salary that one who is doing art, for me at least, can have, that it made a difference, because I know I talked about these lovely players. I want to mention all their names again, that inspired me, and a lot of other musicians and people who inspired me, and I'm so grateful for that. And wow, if I can do that to someone else, I'm very happy.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, thank you for being here today, Johannes. Thank you for being here, Sergio. It was a wonderful podcast, and look forward to the future.
Thank you so much. It was really for me a big pleasure to be with you guys, and you created this nice atmosphere that we have, and good luck for the rest of the podcast, and greetings to everyone out there.
Yes. Let's have a listen to Rising Live.
Wow, amazing shirt.
Oh, you have a new shirt.